Chairman Issa, Ranking Member Cummings, and members of the committee, since 1999, I have been an IRS employee in the Office of Exempt Organizations, EO determinations in Cincinnati. As of April of 2010, my position was an EO determination specialist. At the time, I had been assigned to serve as the Emerging Issues Coordinator. In this role, I was tasked with handling applications that had been identified as emerging issues. In late April, I was assigned by my supervisor to handle all applications that had been identified as applications by Tea Party groups applying for 501c3 or 501c4 exemption status. Initially, around April 30th, 2010, approximately 20 Tea Party applications were assigned to me. Subsequently, I received a steady flow of Tea Party applications. There were occasions when other agents sent to me applications from liberal or non-Tea Party type groups. When that occurred, pursuant to the instructions that had been given to me, I would send those applications to general inventory since they were not within the scope of the Tea Party emerging issue. Around the same time that these applications were assigned to me, I also learned that 2 Tea Party applications had been assigned to Carter Hul and EO Technical in Washington, D.C. I was told that I was to coordinate the review of these applications assigned to me with Mr. Hul. I called Mr. Hul. He sent me the development letters that he had prepared for the applications assigned to him to use examples from my applications. Mr. Hul requested that I send to him drafts of the development letters I was writing for my applications, and he subsequently asked me to send him copies of the applications as well. At the beginning of the process, when I sent my draft development letters to Mr. Hul, he would call me with suggested edits to the letters. I would make the edits and send them to the applicants. When I received responses from the applicants, I notified Mr. Hul, who asked that I send copies of the responses to him as well. I do not remember how many such responses I received. I would estimate 15 to 25. At no point did I receive any guidance from Mr. Hul or anyone else as what to do with these responses. Similarly, beginning sometime in the summer of 2010, when I sent draft development letters to Mr. Hul, I received no guidance from him or anyone else at EO Technical as to those letters. In my experience, this was a highly unusual process. I never before had to send development letters that I had drafted to EO Technical review, and I never before had to send copies of applications and responses that were assigned to me to EO Technical for review. I was frustrated because of what I perceived as micromanagement with respect to these applications. I also received numerous calls from applicants asking about the status of their applications. I was only able to tell those applicants that their applications were under review. I became very frustrated because until I received guidance from EO Technical, I was unable to process these applications. I expressed my concerns to both Mr. Hul and my supervisor at the time, Steve Bowling. As a result of this frustration, in July 2010, I applied for a transfer to Quality Assurance, and in October 2010, I received the requested transfer. When that occurred, these cases that I had assigned were reassigned to another agent. To the best of my recollection, I had a total of 40 to 60 Tea Party cases assigned to me at that time. In July and August 2010, I attended several meetings with Mr. Bowling and another manager, John Waddell, at which I was informed of the creation of the BOLA list. They told me that the purpose of this list was to consolidate into a single document all the instructions that agents received about certain applications. The BOLA list was a new tab that was added to an existing spreadsheet that had other descriptions of groups and instructions to agents. In August 2010, Mr. Waddell told me the language that should be added to the BOLA list with respect to Tea Party groups. After adding the language, I sent the document first to Mr. Waddell for his review. Mr. Waddell then told me to send the document to Cindy Thomas and a couple of other managers. A few days later, he told me to email the list to everyone else in EO determinations in Cincinnati. I accidentally emailed the list to everyone in rulings and agreements, including agents in Washington, D.C. Since October 2010, I have had no direct involvement in the processing and review of Tea Party applications, aside from occasionally reviewing them in the course of my quality assurance responsibilities. In December 2011 and January 2012,